Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So now
Madhuri.
last time we saw about the various personalities which has been spoken. Vidura entered, everybody caught up and welcomed, and they were very happy. Prakrishtaha, prahrishtenah, prahrishtenah. 1 minute. Gautam, don't have that somebody can enter the room. It should be free entry. Don't have that block, huh? Because sometimes they are not able to, you don't enter them, they just hang. So leave that thing. Just everybody can enter easily.
And Mataji, if I can also get the hosting right, so co-hosting right, so I can share the screen.
Yeah. So make Neeraj Prabhu the host. Yeah.
Co-host is fine. Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
So, Prema Bhash Paugham Virahau Kanthaya Kataraha Raja Tamharayam Raja Tamaryanchake Krita Yanchake Raja Tamarhayanchakre Utasana Parigraham Muchu Prema Bhashpaugam Virahaut Kanthaya Kataraha Raja Tamarhayanchakre Utasana Parigraham Mumuchu Prema. So the love emanated. Hashpa Ogham. How it emanated? In the form of emotional tears. When you have deep love, naturally the tears come. Viraha Outkantaha, out of anxiousness, of the separation. And suddenly now, Vidura has come. It's not any intimation was given that I'm going to come. Where is mobile that time? Now only all intimation. But that time, immediately, he has come. So, what is outkant, out of anxiousness? Kataha, they are so aggrieved because of separation. Yudhishthira, tam, unto him. Aryam Chakri offered Krita performance of asana sitting accommodations, parigram arrangement. So Yudhishthir Maharaj gave all the wonderful sitting accommodations and grand reception. Let us see. Tam bhuktavantam Vishrantam asinam sukhamasane prashya vanato raja prahatesham cha shumatam. Tam, that means unto Vidura, bhuktavantam, fed him very nicely. So when you have Atithi, first thing what we do, that too now he is not an ordinary Atithi, he is their own family member. So fed him very nicely. Then Vishrantam, made him take rest. Asinam gave him the seat. Sukham asane, a very comfortable seat. Prashriya avalataha. And they were very gentle and meek. Raja Yudhishthir, Praha began to speak. And being heard. So Vidura heard them speak. And the king spoke in a very soft, gentle way. Okay. And a meek way. So both the verses, Vimala Mataji read both the verses. And read the purport.
Text 6. Vimuchaha prema bhashmaugham virohat panthyatataraha raja tam arhyam tekare pratasana parigraham. Translation. Due to anxieties and long separation, they all cried out of affection. King Yudhishthir then arranged to offer sitting accommodations and a reception. Text 7. Tam bhuktavantam vishrantam sukham asane prashrayavanto raja desham cha shrunavatam. Translation. After Vidura ate sumptuously and took sufficient rest, he was comfortably seated. Then the king began to speak to him, and all who were present there listened. Purport: King Yudhishthir was expert in reception also, even in the case of his family members. Vidur was well received by all the family members by exchange of embraces and obeisances. After that, bathing and arrangements for a sumptuous dinner were made, and then he was given sufficient rest. After finishing his rest, he was offered a comfortable place to sit, and then the king began to talk about all happenings, both family and otherwise. That is the proper way to receive a beloved friend or even an enemy. According to Indian moral codes, even an enemy received at home should be so well received that he will not feel any fearful situation. An enemy is always afraid of his enemy, but this should not be so when he is received at home by his enemy. This means that a person, when received at home, should be treated as a relative. So, what to speak of a family member like Vidur, who was a well-wisher for all the members of the family. Thus, Yudhishthir Maharaj began to speak in the presence of all the other members. Hare Krishna.
One minute. Let us see. So they offered him a wonderful seat, gave him nice rest, and then inquired. My voice is coming? Okay. Yudhishthruvacha api smaratha no yusmat paksha chaya samedhitan vipad gadad vishaknyade mojita yat samatrikaha. Yudhishthira says, api smaratha. Whether, api means whether. You remember? Naha yushmat pakshaha. You remember? Then us, from you, partiality towards the wings of a bird, chaya, protection. So do you remember how you always protected us? Samedhan, we who were brought up by you, you protected us with our mother, Vipad Ganat, from various calamities, you protected us. Visha, by administration of poison, Agni Deha, by setting on fire, Mochitaha, released from. Yet what you have done, so along with Matrataha, or mother. So you protected us from various calamities. And how you protected us? What? You protected us from various calamities. You saved us from poisoning. You saved us from the arson. It's like how your partiality like wings of a bird. So somehow you are partial to us, towards us. Though it is said the Kauravas also belong to Vidura. Pandavas also belong to Vidura, but you were partial to us. And how you protected us, like how the bird protects its wing. In the same way, you consider us as one of your part of the body. That is how you were partial to us. You protected us from various calamities. You protected not only us, but you protected our mother also. So in this way here, Yudhishthira is first thanking Vidura. When you start a speech, this is known as eloquence of speech. Like any guest come, you cannot just directly ask the questions. You have to treat the guest very nicely, especially elders of the family come. Immediately you should give them a nice way to first relax themselves. And afterwards appreciate. And then afterwards, whatever questions you have to ask. That is the eloquence of speech. Somebody comes directly that you ask, not even asking for a glass of water. It doesn't work. First, you have to place them comfortably, raise them, praise them, then question them. Okay, whatever inquiries. That is how even when the speakers come in temple, first you offer them a nice seat, give a glass of water, and afterwards praise them, and then slowly make them speak, and then ask the question. You see, when the preacher comes also, the same thing, same people. Offering a good seat first. Okay. So Adi Kartiki Mataji, please read the big purport. So the purport can be shared by Anisha Prabhu also. First verses.
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah.
Yudhishthira Ubacha Api Smaratana Yusmat Paksha Chaya Sameditan Vipadgana Dishagnya Demo Chita Yatsamatrikaha. Text, translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maharaja Yudhishthira said, "My uncle, do you remember how you always protected us, along with our mother, from all sorts of calamities? You partiality, like the wing of a bird, saved us from poisoning and arson." Purport. Due to Pandu's death at an early age, his minor children and widow were the object of special care by all the elderly members of the family, especially Bhismadeva and Mahatma Vidura. Vidura was more or less partial to the Pandavas due to their political position. Although Dhritarashtra was equally careful for the minor children of Maharaja Pandu, he was one of the intriguing parties who wanted to wash away the descendants of Pandu and replace them by raising his own sons to become the rulers of the kingdom. Mahatma Vidura could follow this intrigue of Dhritarashtra and company, and therefore, even though he was a faithful servitor of his eldest brother Dhritarashtra, he did not like his political ambition for the sake of his own sons. He was therefore very careful about the protection of the Pandavas and their widow mother. Thus, he was, so to speak, partial to the Pandavas, preferring them to the sons of Dhritarashtra. Although both of them were equally affectionate in his ordinary eyes, he was equally affectionate to both of the camps of the nephews, in the sense that he always chastised Duryodhana for his intriguing policy against the cousins. He always criticized his elder brother for his policy of encouragement to his sons, and at the same time, he was always alert in giving special protection to the Pandavas. All these different activities of Vidura within the palace politics made him well known as partial to the Pandavas. Maharaja Yudhishthira has referred to the past history of Vidura because before he is going away from home for a prolonged pilgrim's journey. Maharaja Yudhishthira reminded him that he was equally kind and partial to his grown-up nephews, even after the Battle of Kurukshetra, a great family disaster. Do you want me to continue, Mataji?
From here, Anisha Prabhu can continue.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Before the Battle of Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra's policy was peaceful annihilation of his nephews, and therefore he ordered Purochana to build a house at Varnavatra, and when the building was finished, Dhritarashtra desired that his brother's family live there for some time. When the Pandavas were going there in the presence of all the members of the royal family, Vidura tactfully gave instructions to the Pandavas about the future plan of Dhritarashtra. This is specifically described in the Mahabharata Adi Parv 114. He indirectly hinted a weapon not made of steel or any other material element can be more sharp to kill an enemy and he who knows this is never killed. That is to say, he hinted that the party of the Pandavas was being sent to Varnabrata to be killed, and thus he warned Yudhishthira to be very careful in their new residential palace. He also gave indications of fire and said that fire cannot extinguish the soul, but that can annihilate the material body. But one who protects the soul can live. Kunti could not follow such indirect conversations between Maharaj Yudhishthir and Vidur, and thus she inquired from her son about the purport of the conversation. Yudhishthira replied that from the talks of Vidura, it was understood that there was a hint of fire in the house when they were proceeding. Later on, Vidur came in disguise to the Pandavas and informed them that the housekeeper was going to set fire to the house on the 14th night of the waning moon. It was an intrigue of Dhritarashtra that the Pandavas might die altogether with their mother. And by his warning, the Pandavas escaped through a tunnel underneath the earth, so that their escape was also unknown to Dhritarashtra, so much so that after setting the fire, the Kauravas were so certain of the death of the Pandavas that Dhritarashtra performed the last rites of death with great cheerfulness. And during the mourning period, all the members of the palace became overwhelmed with lamentation, but Vidura did not become so because of his knowledge that the Pandavas were alive somewhere. There are many such instances of calamities, and in each of them, Vidur gave protection to the Pandavas on one hand, and on the other hand, he tried to sustain his brother Dhritarashtra from such intriguing policies. Therefore, he was always partial to the Pandavas, just as a bird protects its eggs by its wings. Mataji, is this last sentence, this analogy, like the wings of a bird, though it is clarified in the last sentence, just as a bird protects its eggs by its wings. How it can be applied in this instant case that Vidura saved Pandavas like this, like a bird saves the eggs by its wing?
So therefore, he was always partial to the Pandavas. The reason is given by its partial, just as a bird protects its eggs by its wings. And also wings are not separated from the bird. There is also one meaning, and protects the eggs by the wings.
Okay.
Ninth verse. Tatha vritteya vartitam vash charadbhi kshiti mandalam तीर्थानि क्षेत्र मुख्यानि सेवितानि भूतले कया वृत्तया वर्तितं वश शरद्भिः क्षितिमण्डलं तीर्थानि क्षेत्र मुख्यानि सेवितानि भूतले कया, by which वृत्तया means vartitam, maintain your livelihood. How did you maintain your livelihood? Your good self, Charadvihi, you were traveling so much because Vidura did not take part in the war. And he was traveling. So their question was, how did you maintain yourself? Shiti Mandalam, on the surface of the earth, you were traveling. Tirthani, you were going to different places of pilgrimage. Kshetra Mukhyani, especially the places, principal holy places you were going. Sevitani, and you served the holy places, Iha in this world, Putale on this planet. So you travel to different holy places, different pilgrimage sites. Could you render service over there? Actually, to render service, you require some artha also. First, how did you maintain yourself? How did you serve there? Could you serve there? Okay. So Kamalakshi Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Kaya vrittaya varittam vas charat isiti mandalam tirthani kshetra muhyani sevitani gaputale. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: while traveling on the surface of the earth, how did you maintain your livelihood? At which holy places and pilgrimage sites did you render service? Purport: Vidura went out from the palace to detach himself from household affairs, especially political intrigues. As referred to herein before, he was practically insulted by Duryodhana, calling him a son of Sutrani, although it was not out of place to talk loosely in the case of one's grandmother. Vidura's mother, although a Sutrani, was the grandmother of Duryodhana, and funny talks are sometimes allowed between grandmother and grandchildren. But because the remark was an actual fact, it was unpalatable talk to Vidura, and it was accepted as a direct insult. He therefore decided to quit his paternal house and prepare for the renounced order of life. This preparatory stage is called Vanaprastha Ashrama, or retired life for traveling and visiting the holy places on the surface of the earth. In the holy places of India, like Vrindavana, Haridwar, Jagannath Puri, and Prayaga, there are many great devotees, and there are still free kitchen houses for persons who decide to advance spiritually. Maharaja Yudhishthira was inquisitive to learn whether Vidura maintained himself by the mercy of the free kitchen houses, Chatras. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay. This is the most important verse, and 10th verse. Try to memorize the verse. Bhavadvidha bhagavata tirthabhuta swayam vibho tirthi kurvanti tirthani swantastena gadabhuta. Bhavadvidha bhagavatas. Your good self, bhavata, vidha bhagavatas. Personality is like yourself. You personalities of yourself are tirthas. Tirtha bhuta swayam vibho. You have the power to convert every place as tirtha. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. Tirthi kurvanti. You can make any place as tirtha. Swantastena gadabhutaha. Because in your heart, who is situated? Lord is situated. That is why you're carrying Lord in your heart. You yourself are a tirtha. Wherever you go, that place becomes tirtha. This verse is very, very important. When you see great personalities, like your spiritual master, immediately you should remember, Bhavadvita Bhagavatas, Tirtha Bhuta, Swayam Vipo, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani, Swantasten Gadavata. Now when Guru Maharaj left to Vaikuntha, you cannot say left the body, because Maharaj's body is also so pure, so wonderful. He carries Lord within his heart. That is why Guru Maharaj was brought inside the temple and showed the darshan of Lord. Because the body is so pure, so perfect, so pure. He carries Lord within his heart. Wherever he goes, that place becomes tirtha. Lakhs of people have come on at Leon's eyes and trying to touch the Maharaj's lotus feet. That is the difference actually. Our body will touch or what anybody will touch. And then see also afterwards go and take bath. But when Samadhi of Guru Maharaj was happening, everybody was crying. And they're trying to touch Guru Maharaj. When Guru Maharaj was brought, everybody was trying to touch his body. Because the body is actually tirtha, the place where Lord resides. When the body is utilized in Krishna's service, that becomes tirtha. What is the meaning of tirtha? The place where Lord resides. So when the body is utilized in Krishna's service, naturally Lord resides in that body, that place is tirtha. And wherever the personality goes, he makes the other place also tirtha. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. Tirthi kurvanti, tirthi. You are yourself a tirtha. Kurvanti tirthani. You are making every place as tirtha just by your presence. Just by your presence, every place becomes tirtha. So that is the power of the self-realized souls. Okay. Sandani Prabhu, please read. Sandani Prabhu. Okay, Kusum Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thanks for the
Hari.
service. Hare Krishna.
So late. Thanks for the service. I'm calling from the time. Okay, read.
Bhavat Vidha Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibhu Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swanta Sthena
Swantastena.
Sthena Gada Brada.
Swayam Vibho. It is not Vibhu. Vibho. Bho.
Swayam Vibho.
Swantastena.
Okay.
In your heart, who is there? Gadavrata.
Okay.
The Lord is situated in your heart. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Read.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified, because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart. You turn all places into places of pilgrimage. Purport. The personality of Godhead is omnipresent by his diverse potencies everywhere. Just as the power of electricity is distributed everywhere within space. Similarly, Lord's omnipresence is perceived and manifested by his unalloyed devotees like Vidura. Just as electricity is manifested in the electric bulb, a pure devotee like Vidura always feels the presence of Lord everywhere. He sees everything in the potency of the Lord and the Lord in everything. The holy places all over the earth are meant for purifying the polluted consciousness of the human being by an atmosphere surcharged by the presence of the Lord's unalloyed devotees. If anyone visits a holy place, he must search out the pure devotees residing in such holy places. Take lessons from them. Try to apply such instructions in practical life and thus gradually prepare oneself for the ultimate salvation, going back to Godhead. To go to some holy place of pilgrimage does not mean only to take a bath in the Ganges or Yamuna or to visit the temples situated in those places. One should also find representatives of Vidura who have no desire in life save and except to serve the personality of Godhead. The personality of Godhead is always with such pure devotees because of their unalloyed service, which is without any tinge of fruitive action or utopian speculation. They are in the actual service of the Lord, specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. The pure devotees hear from the authorities and chant, sing, and write of the glories of the Lord. Mahamuni Vyasadeva heard from Narada and then he chanted in writing. Sukadeva Goswami studied from his father and he described it to the Parikshit. That is the way of Srimad Bhagavatam. So by their actions, the pure devotees of the Lord can render any place into a place of pilgrimage, and the holy places are worth the name only on their account. Such pure devotees are able to rectify the polluted atmosphere of any place, and what to speak of a holy place rendered unholy by the questionable actions of interested persons who try to adopt a professional life at the cost of reputation of the holy place. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Next. Apina suhadastat Mandava Krishna Devataha Drishta Shuktava Yadavaha Swapuryam Sukhamasate Api Vidar Naha Avar Suhrada, well-wishers, Tatam, O my uncle, Baldava, friends, Krishna Devataha, those who are always wrapped in the service of the Lord, Drishtaha, by seeing them, Shutaha, or by hearing to them, hearing about them, Vaha, either, Yadavaha, descendants of Yadu, Sopuryam, along with the residential place, Sukhamasate, if they are all happy. So, oh my uncle, you must have visited Dwarka. So there are our friends very happy. Bandavaha, oh Tata, Tata means uncle, are our well-wishers, friends, who were all wrapped in attention, service to the Lord Krishna Devataha. So you must have seen them, you must have heard about them. So are they all living very happily? So this all she comes and does in between. So we are coming and giving me Tulsi now. Wait, now you go there afterwards. So, oh my uncle, have you visited Dwarka? And then are our friends and well-wishers, are they are all serving Lord? You must have heard about them. You must have seen them. Are they all very happy? So inquiring, how are the residents of Dwarka? This way they are inquiring. Hastinapur, Lord went from Hastinapur to Dwarka. So have you visited Dwarka? Have you seen those people who are serving Lord very nicely? So Lord left them and went. So they want to know how great services they must be doing. That is why Lord went to Dwarka. This is another one type of sarcastic meaning also. They must be living really very happily because anyhow Lord left us and went. And their Lord must be served by the Dwarka Vasis. Have you met them? Have you seen them? And naturally, because they are loving Lord so much, they could not tolerate that separation. Now, Lord is residing in Dwarka. That means how opulent was Dwarka. So they want to know about the Dwarka Vasis. Have you seen them? That means from inside, they have a small, they say small, huge feelings, you can say. The Lord left us and he went to Dwarka to take the service from the Dwarka Vasis. Okay. Kusum, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandat Pranam. Api Shudra Bandhava Krishna Devataha Drishta Shruta Va Yadavaha Swapuryam Sukham Asate. Translation and purpose. By Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Mataji, your voice is not clear.
Yeah, your
My
voice is
uncle,
not
you
clear,
must have
Kusum.
visited in that holy place. Are our friends
I do one thing. You
Devataha,
keep your
that
mobile.
is, those who are all
You keep a video off, Kusum, and read. Keep a video off. As such, we are seeing only your fan only. Keep your video off. Read.
I'll read
Keep your
Mataji.
video off and read because your voice is not clear. That is why. Keep your video off and then read.
Okay. Purport. The particular word Krishna Devataha, that is, those who are always wrapped in the service of Lord Krishna, is significant. The Yadavas and the Pandavas, who were always wrapped in the thought of the Lord Krishna and his different transcendental activities, were all pure devotees of the Lord, like Vidur. Vidura left home in order to devote himself completely to the service of the Lord. But the Pandavas and the Yadavas were always wrapped in the thought of Lord Krishna. Thus, there is no difference in their pure devotional qualities. Either remaining at home or leaving home, the real qualification of a pure devotee is to become wrapped in the thought of Krishna favorably. That is, knowing well that Lord Krishna is the absolute personality of Godhead. Kamsa, Jarasandha, Shishupala, and other demons like them were always wrapped in the thought of Lord Krishna, but they were absorbed in a different way, namely unfavorably, or thinking him to be a powerful man only. Therefore, Kamsa and Shishupala are not on the same level as pure devotees like Vidura, the Pandavas, and
the Yadavas. Maharaja Yudhishthir was also always wrapped in the thought of Lord Krishna and his associates at Dwarka. Otherwise, he could not have asked all about them from Vidura. Maharaja Yudhishthir was therefore on the same level of devotion as Vidura, although engaged in the state affairs of the kingdom of the world. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Next. इत्युक्तो धर्मराजेन सर्वं तत् समवर्णयत् यथानुभूतं क्रमशो विनायदुकुलक्षयम्. Thus Yudhishthira Maharaj questioned. Uktaha means asked by Yudhishthira Maharaj. Samavarnayat. Now, Maharaj Yudhishthira, Mahatma Vidura started properly describing. Yatha anubhutam. Whatever he experienced, one after one, Kramashaha started describing. Vina Yadukulakshayam. Except for speaking about the annihilation of Yadu dynasty. That means he did not give the news of Lord's disappearance, and before that, Lord is going to disappear, but before that, Yadukula has disappeared. That news was not given. Lord first made the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, and then afterwards only Lord disappeared. So he did not give this news. Except for that, he spoke everything. Okay, next let us see. Nanva priyam durvishaham nam swayam upasthitam na vedayat sakaruno dukhitan drashtum akshamaha. Nan, as a matter of fact, apriyam, unpalatable, durvisham, unbearable, nam, of humankind, swayam, in its own way, upasthitam, appearance, no, did not, avedayat, express. So he did not express. Sakarunaham, a compassionate, dukhitan, distress, drashtum, to see, akshamaha, unable. He could not stand to see now Pandavas distressed at any time. So he did not disclose. Already they have faced a lot of difficulties. Now again to give them some unbearable, unpalatable news and making them distressed. We could not see that. Actually, the cause of Vidura leaving the war was he could not see Pandavas in distress. War means there will be death of someone. And again, Pandavas will be put in difficulty. He did not want to see Pandavas in difficult situation. That is why now also, he did not give such news to Pandavas. Okay, Narayana, read.
Yes, Maharaj. Ityukto dharmaraje.
Keep your videos on.
Ityukto dharmarajena sarvam tat samavarnayat yatha nubhutam tamasho vinayadupulakshayam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus being questioned by Maharaj Yudhishthira, Mahatma Vidura gradually described everything he had personally experienced except the news of the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty. Nanva priyam durvishaham nrudam swayamupasthitam na vedayat sakaruno dukhitan drashtumakshamaha. Compassionate Mahatma Vidura could not stand to see the Pandavas distressed at any time. Therefore, he did not disclose this unpalatable and unbearable incident because calamities come of their own accord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. According to the Niti Shastra, civic laws, one should not speak an unpalatable truth to cause distress to others. Distress comes upon us in its own way by the laws of nature. So one should not aggravate it by propaganda. For a compassionate soul like Vidura, especially in his dealings with the beloved Pandavas, it was almost impossible to disclose an unpalatable piece of news like the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty. Therefore, he purposely refrained from it. Hare Krishna.
कश्चित् कालम् अथावात्से तत्कृतो देववत् सुखम् भ्रातृज्येष्ठस्य श्रेयस्कृत् सर्वेषां सुखमावहन्. The previous verse you see the purpose according to Niti Shastra. One should not speak some unpalatable truth to cause distress to others. It's very important line. Now here, kanchit kalam athavatsit. So Vidura stayed, and Vidura was treated like a godly person. Devavat. He remained there for some time. Why? Bhratru Jeshtaha. Shayatput. To do something good for the elder brother. That is the Dhritarashtra. Sarvesham Sukham Avahan. And in this way, giving happiness to everyone. So the purpose of Vidura coming was to give something higher to his elder brother. Shreyan refers to something which is good, something which is highest. Shreyas and Prayas. Prayas is what I like. Shreyas is what is good for me. I may like, I may not like. Like taking Vanaprastha, no one likes. Taking sannyas, no one likes. Going out of the house, no one likes. But here Yudhishthira is going to be told, you go out of the house. Don't stay in the house. Go in the forest and go and do meditation. So Shreyan means what is good for him. That is going to be told by Vidura. That is why he stayed there. Stayed there for some time. And in this way, first, again, was like mixing with them very nicely. Then he is going to speak. Okay. Who will read? Neeraj Prabhu read. So we can take this as the last verse.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I got a very small purport to read.
So you can read this purpose if you want.
If
You got
Neeraj
two
Prabhuji,
shlokas. Prabhuji, you read two shlokas.
okay, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu, you can continue.
Hari Bol. No, you read the purport, Prabhu. I'll read the shloka, you read the purport. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
It's what your desire is. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Krishna Prabhu.
Okay, so with your permission, Mataji. Kanchit kalam athavat satkrato devatsu sukham
Devavat.
Jareshchasya shreyaskrastasya vesha sukhamavahan.
Wait. Kanchit kalam
Kalam
thavaset satkuto devavat sukham bhratu jeshthasya shreyaskrit sarvesham sukhamavahan. Sarvesham sukhamavahan.
Kanchit kalam athavat satkato devas tutha sukham.
Satkuto devavat sukham. Vat sukham. Devavat.
Devat sukham. Devat sukham.
Devavat.
Yeah, devavat sukham. Bhartur
Jeshthasya
jeshtasya shriyaskrita
Yaskrit
sarvesham sukham avahan.
avahan. Yes, read.
Translation. Thus, Mahatma Vidur, being treated just like a godly person by his kinsmen, remained there for a certain period, just to rectify the mentality of his eldest brother, and in this way bring happiness to all the others. Yes, Narayan Prabhu, would you like to read the purport now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Go
Prabhuji.
ahead. Hare Krishna, Haribol.
So, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Saintly persons like Vidura must be treated as well as a denizen from heaven. In those days, denizens of heavenly planets used to visit homes like that of Maharaj Yudhishthira, and sometimes persons like Arjuna and others used to visit higher planets. Narada is a spaceman who can travel unrestrictedly, not only within the material universes, but also in the spiritual universes. Even Narada used to visit the palace of Maharaj Yudhishthira, and what to speak of other celestial demigods. It is only the spiritual culture of the people concerned that makes interplanetary travel possible, even in the present body. Maharaj Yudhishthira therefore received Vidura in the manner of reception offered to the demigods. Mahatma Vidura had already adopted the renounced order of life, and therefore he did not return to his paternal palace to enjoy some material comforts. He accepted out of his own mercy what was offered to him by Maharaj Yudhishthira. But the purpose of living in the palace was to deliver his elder brother Dhritarashtra, who was too much materially attached. Dhritarashtra lost all his state and descendants in the fight with Maharaj Yudhishthira, and still, due to his sense of helplessness, he did not feel ashamed to accept the charity and hospitality of Maharaj Yudhishthira. On the part of Maharaj Yudhishthira, it was quite in order to maintain his uncle in a befitting manner, but acceptance of such magnanimous hospitality by Dhritarashtra was not at all desirable. He accepted it because he thought that there was no alternative. Vidura particularly came to enlighten Dhritarashtra and to give him a lift to the higher status of spiritual cognition. It is the duty of enlightened souls to deliver the fallen souls, and Vidura came for that reason. But talks of spiritual enlightenment are so refreshing that while instructing Dhritarashtra, Vidura attracted the attention of all the members of the family, and all of them took pleasure in hearing him patiently. This is the way of spiritual realization. The message should be heard attentively, and if spoken by a realized soul, it will act on the dormant heart of the conditioned soul. And by continuously hearing, one can attain the perfect stage of self realization. Hare Krishna.
This is by hearing to him, one is going to attain the perfect state of self-realization.
Mataji, I would like to point out something in this particular purport. If you see the first paragraph, where Prabhupada is describing Narada as a spaceman who can travel unrestrictedly, he is using the word universe in its plural form, universes, and we know this from the Shastras that we don't have only one single universe, we have got multiple universes. But this has now been proven by the modern science, by the modern mathematics, wherein the idea of having multiple universes was floated somewhere in 1930s or 1940s by the person who was the one who discovered the atomic bomb, Oppenheimer. But the inter-universe travel is something which is still out of bounds for the current modern science. So there is a book called as Black Holes. It is written by two authors. They are accomplished scientists, Brian Cox and Jeff Forshaw, and they have given a theory. It's basically a hypothesis of how one can travel between universes, and how black holes are basically inter-universal portals. So while I was reading that book, I was seeing that lecture, it reminded me of Narada, because the amount of energy that a body requires to transgress that radiation barrier, it can only be given by Lord who is of infinite energy. So
one universe to another universe, right?
Yes.
And in between there is a black hole. A lot of radiation is there.
Yeah, so
So-
if there is something called as black hole, so as we have got neutron, electron and proton, so similarly there would be something called as white hole, which is not there in our universe, but the the black holes from our universe could end up as white holes in the other universe. So I was teaching this, I was just having a chat with my PhD students, and I made a point to them that the moment you start reading science, rather than becoming an atheist, it has to prove you that there is God. Like this entire universe is not just happening randomly. There's no like a one small bang and then the entire universe was created. It is impossible. Like there are so many subatomic particles and they dance according to the tunes of the Lord. So I would request everyone, anyone who is interested in these topics, just to have a glance to that book, Black Hole. It's a very wonderful book. Most of it is mathematics, but some of it has been given to you as graphical representations. So it's a very wonderful book.
Yes.
It's a materialistic literature, but still it proves that Lord exists.
Oh, can you check the verse? Any verse? Ishara Parama Krishna. And Krishna is the cause of all the causes. Patidanam Pavane Vaishnavi